Okay, so there's the retirement we expected versus the reality we're facing. This is the third part of my series on Gen X's long, frustrating road to retirement bliss. In the first video, I talked about how the system had let us down in multiple ways. In the second video, I covered the problems that we're facing today. And in this one, I've got 5 problems that we need to pay attention to because retirement is changing whether we like it or not. Okay, first one on the list is housing costs may force us to look into different living arrangements than we have in the past. Okay, first, I believe that multi-generational homes, multi-generational living is going to become more common. I think a lot of retirees may have to rent in retirement. I think the McMansion American dream is dying. I just think we need to stay open-minded because I don't know when the current housing situation is going to straighten itself out. Okay, number 2 on the list is I feel that full retirement is a luxury that many of us aren't going to be able to afford. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's just take a look at some of the other generations. Our parents' generation, most of them had pensions. Baby boomers, I think that they've kind of skirted, gotten into retirement before things got really complicated. Millennials, they've still got time to save more. They can see, the horizon, if they're smart. And a lot of these problems that, we're facing today can maybe hopefully fix themselves by the time they're faced with retirement. But once again, here Gen X is kind of in the middle of a lot of different things that are going on. The housing crisis, the inflation, Social Security, rumors, that kind of thing. So I think that a lot of Gen Xers, they're going to have some kind of income stream coming in, and retirement will probably be more like a transition. It won't be just a hard stop where one day you're working, they throw you a retirement party, and then the next day, you're retired for the rest of your life. I think if you're in your 50s now, one of the best things you could probably do for your future self is start thinking and start developing a second income stream. Something, whether it's, a hobby that you have or rental properties or, different things like that. But I just don't think for Gen Xers that retirement is going to be, a 30-year vacation unless we have saved, a lot of money. Okay, the third problem that Gen Xers are going to face is that Social Security is not going to be enough. Even if it does manage to stick around in its current condition. So in my first video, I laid out 5 ways that Gen X had been let down by the abrupt transition to the current financial system, mostly what we know today. Now, a few things have been worked out over the past 40 years, but look at us today. What is the current rumor with Social Security? They're saying that it's going to run out of funds by the year 2035. Now, I know there's a lot of different thoughts on this. There are things that, can be done. I don't think it's really being discussed with our government. It doesn't seem to be a priority. But the year 2035, that's going to put Gen Xers between the ages of 55 and 70, which is just right at the cusp, and for the older ones, in retirement time. So once again, Gen X gets delivered some bad news when it comes to retirement. Now, I can't see the future. I don't really know what's going to happen to Social Security, and maybe we're far enough, down the line that if they do make some really big cuts, maybe they won't affect us. It's really hard to say. But let's say it does survive. There aren't any cuts that our generation has to face, and the average Social Security check today is $1,800. Now that's not enough for most retirees to live on. Now what can we do? Well, there's only, a couple of things you can do. It's save. I mean, just save as much as you can, or delay benefits as long as possible. I mean, you have the option of delaying benefits up until age 70, and that could be something that does change. That age could be pushed up even further. Okay, so what's the fourth problem that I see in Gen X's retirement future that we need to be paying attention to? Well, that's retirement healthcare costs. I mean, medical costs are skyrocketing. I mean, this is going to be a huge problem. I mean, no matter how healthy we are aging, and the older you get, the more medical care you tend to receive. Medicare, that'll kick in for us at 65, or at least that's the rule right now. I mean, will it be the same by then? Will there be major cuts to it? Will the premiums, skyrocket for it? Because we know there are problems, budget problems with Medicare as well. And I don't even really have an answer for this one. I mean, we're all pretty much just at the mercy of our healthcare system. Everybody needs it at some point in their lives. Now, I've experienced the healthcare system through my mom, taking care of her. She's experienced a few falls over the last several years. The emergency rooms and the hospitals, they're becoming scary places. Standards seem to be getting lower and lower. Wait times in the emergency room. I mean, I could give you lots of stories of, what I've experienced and what other people have experienced. The staff shortages are real. The stress on the existing staff, from administrative, people to the doctors, it's real and it's palpable and you can feel it. Communication has suffered in the last, several years. It's not a place that you're going to want to go. I have learned that. And I don't want to, trash on our healthcare system because, as I say, I know that there is a lot of pressure going on right now with our healthcare workers, and I am very thankful for them. But I know that the situation is far from ideal. Now, on top of all of this, we've got the fact that healthcare costs are almost, impossible to manage. And as I say, I don't really have an answer for this one. Let's just hope that things can improve as we get older. Now, Medicare currently covers a lot of those healthcare expenses that you're bound to incur after the age of 65. And I hope that a lot of things don't change too much, on our end of it regarding, premiums and the coverage that it offers. And the fifth challenge that I see Gen X facing is that aging won't necessarily mean slowing down. It'll mean remaining functional so that we can keep working. Now, in one of the other points, I mentioned how retirement is probably going to be more like a transition where a lot of us are going to continue to work in some form or fashion. But all of that is dependent on the fact that we're healthy enough that we can continue to work. A lot of us are just not as active as we used to be when we were a lot younger, and that's going to cost us. If we lose muscle and mobility, then we lose independence. Strength training, functional fitness, staying active, I don't see those as optional. I see them almost as survival tactics. And I see this too, I see it happening already today, but I know it's going to get more intense, especially for our generation. There's going to be, anti-aging gimmicks and longevity supplements, things they're going to push. Just don't fall for all of the hype. Just eat good food and try to stay active. Now, in this series, I've covered a lot of things that Gen X has had to face, in our past, in the present today, and in our future. But we've been put in this unique position to adapt. And pretty much we've been left to test it out, figure it out, and live it out in ways I don't think any other generation before or after us has had to endure. So let me know in the comments what you think retirement is going to look like for us. It's getting really close. I know you've thought about it. I love making videos that cater to the topics that our generation is facing today. And some of them are good things and some of them are challenging things, but I like to cover them all. So I would love for you to subscribe if you haven't already. I'm going to link the parts 1 and 2 that I referred to. I'm going to link those right here so you can check those out if you haven't already. And I hope you have a great week, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.